Hello and welcome to The Wise Why. I am joined by the incredible Gill. I'm going to say the same. I'm probably going to say the surname wrong. Gayk?
No, it's Gayk.
Gayk. And I knew that as well.
Do you know, and I'll tell you how everyone's going to remember it, because this is what one of my son's school teachers said. It's gay with K on the end, pronounced like dyke. And you'll get it now. You'll remember it, and you'll get it. So
I love it. I've now got an image of the little boy with his finger in the dike because my husband's Dutch. Awesome.
Yeah, and my children begged me, can we change your name? Just they wanted to change their name to something else just during school hours.
To be fair, my one said, do I have to have such a long surname? I went, well, you can abbreviate it. And she went, So, well, as I said, Gill has joined me this morning. Gill is amazing. She is actually one of the women that keeps me on track. If it wasn't for Gill, I could spend hours and hours. It's Gill and Sharon and actually Paul Holmes. I could spend hours and hours and hours down that rabbit hole, which I'm sure we're going to talk about. So, as usual, the show is not about me. It is about Gill. Gill, please introduce yourself to the audience.
Oh, thanks so much, Kirsty. That's really great. I'm always a bit worried that you need that many women to keep you under control, but there you go. It's a hard task. Yeah. My name's Gill Gayk, and I have a business called GMG Business Coaching. That's what I do. I'm a business coach. So if I give you my my spiel, my cheesy bit, which says I'm your business sat nav, guiding you on your business journey, it kind of it can be super cheesy, and I've got a whole load of cheesy marketing stuff to go with it, to be your business sat nav. But actually, that's what a lot of people happen when they're in business. Is they start off in business and they kind of get busy, but they don't know where they're going. They don't set a goal, and they get a little bit disrupted. They kind of just start doing things, and they don't. And if you don't know where you're going, how do you know when you get there? How do you know how to get there? So it's about, that's what I do. And you've experienced that using the goal mapping tool, which is really rather funky and powerful with a whole load of psycho stuff behind it.
And the last session I attended last Tuesday, that came in at exactly the right point for me, because I walked in feeling a little bit overwhelmed, as any new business or relatively new business owner does. And I decided to take on quite a humongous task. And I think the first thing you said was breathe. No, I say that to my clients, but you did. You helped me breathe, and then we did this wonderful goal mapping. Can you expand a bit about goal mapping? Because I know what it is, but there's some people out there that have no idea.
Yeah, it's a pretty phenomenal system. It's simple but not simplistic. So what it is when we're overwhelmed, and that everyone is at the moment for one reason or the other, and it's about it's because we're not in control of anything. So this is about helping you focus and get control of something in your life. And it is an amazing system, which sounds rubbish, but it is a generic way of setting goals, and very powerful goals, to make sure that you know where you're going. And quite often it's even just writing something down or sharing it with somebody is sometimes enough, because it sends a message to your subconscious. You shared it with people, and that's the way you stay on task, and you remember it because it's in the back of your head, the mind, all the time. But this is a system which brings together that idea of writing down a goal, having a written down goal, with visualization. And we know the power of visualization because we think, we dream, we remember in pictures. So it uses that creative side of our brain, the right-hand creative side of our brain, together with the more strategic side of our brain, brings that together to give what we call whole brain activation. And it's just super powerful. So if you're very left brain, it helps you to activate your creative side, which actually together is when somebody that's very left brain activates their creative side, their strategic side becomes stronger, and the same happens vice versa. So somebody who's very creative, who's a bit rubbish or struggles with the detail and the strategy, it's a way of bringing those things together. So
I loved it because I'm a visual person.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure where my brain sits because I'm quite strategic, but I've got that creative side. But when we did the session, it really appealed. Obviously, with the dyslexia, I struggled a little bit with the writing. When it came to the drawing, my stick men rocked. But it was just interesting how the visual for me was, once I've got that written down and got through the overwhelm of, oh, my brain, because I was explaining how my brain goes like this because of the dyspraxia, and then dunk. But I was way drawing and finishing that quicker, much quicker. So obviously it appealed really.
There's a whole kind of thing that you do, and it's some of the stuff I've done with the NLP as well, where you're actually flipping from one side of your brain to the other to connect the dots, and it kind of activates also. So it's exhausting, but it kind of activates lots of different things, and it's a really clever way of doing. But there's lots of there's 7 steps to goal mapping, and there's 7 fundamental rules, there's 7 principles, there's 7 important questions. So there's a lot of 7s in our world, but it really, really, really works. And it's been created by a chap called Brian Main, who's just phenomenal. He's the most magical man. He's a little bit of our guru, mine and Katrina's, and really interesting person. Has a very interesting story and incredible experience. And he's brought all of that into this goal mapping system, and he's done a lot of research and reading on different ancient cultures, on Western, Eastern, South American cultures, and they actually, when you go deep into them, they all have similar philosophies about visualization, setting goals, and the principles of it. So it's knowing what you want is a start point, but what's very critical is the why, and understanding why. And lots of people say, oh, find your why, blah, blah, blah. But it's tapping into it. It's because it's how does it make you feel? Because our emotions are what motivate. So if you can really, really tap into how it makes you feel, if you achieve that goal, how will you feel? What will you have? What will it give you? And when you know that why, that's when the goal becomes very motivational. And that's those are the sort of critical things. Obviously, there needs to be a timeline, otherwise it's wishful thinking. It could go on forever. Once you've got a specific date when you want to achieve that by, you are much more targeted and focused. And then we have the other steps, which is how are you going to do it? What are the steps you need to take to achieve that goal? And who is going to help you? And that's who, which person, which organization, which group of people, or who are you being in that moment? So one of my goals is about healthy eating and having a healthy diet, because healthy body, healthy mind kind of thing is where I start from. And the who am I being, it's my disciplined shopping angel that I need to use for that, because otherwise there'll be far too much chocolate in the shopping basket and not enough of the good healthy stuff. I kick myself when I get high. Those fridge moments when you go, oh, I really need something naughty now. I go, damn it, that damn bloody disciplined shopping angel.
I love that. I love the visual image of the angel. I want the chocolate bar now. Obviously, I'm going to have to go downstairs and see. I haven't got any in either. So yeah, not good. How did you get into? I mean, it's brave to sit up on your own. It's brave to go out there and try something different. It's even braver to use your name, as we were just discussing offline. So how did you get here?
That everybody says, find what you love, do what you love doing, and you never work a day in your life. And you go, and I never found it, and I never found it, and I never found it. And I kept striving for whatever success was. A lot of that is what other people say success is, and striving. And a lot of what I've done in my past is as a result of circumstances. You are restricted to quite a degree about where what you do by family commitments, where you live, your qualifications, all that kind of thing. And so I was kind of on this, so I would say on a bit of a hamster wheel. And I was in quite a big organisation, having done a whole load of other various things. And I was speaking to an HR director in the US, and we were talking about career pathways and all of those kind of things. And I said, I don't know what to do next. And he said, have you looked at coaching? And the Americans are very much, everybody has a therapist, everybody has a coach, and all that kind of thing. And he said he's getting all of his team trained up because of how powerful it was. and then actually you bring that aspect into his HR team, it would really support the fast tracking of high performance individuals and to strengthen their management teams. And he said, have a look at it. So I went, okay. And I went and had a look at it. And I did a free weekend course, and I had that aha moment. I went, oh my God, I have found it. This is what I was always meant to do.
That's just brilliant. So this HR guy was kind of important to you. Who else has helped and supported you to get you to where you are?
Oh my God, there's a zillion people, because all of it's little breadcrumbs along the way, isn't it? I know some people say they have an eureka moment. That was my eureka moment. Was this is what I need? This is what I always needed to do. The next step was finding a way of doing it, and it took me a long time to get to the next step because I had responsibilities and I had to get rid of my responsibilities, aka the kids, before I could make the leap of faith to do my own thing. But there's lots of different things. One of the I worked with a startup business in the days of iPods. Don't know if you remember that. I started with a startup business with a guy who was, well, in my eyes, was mad. He had this massive vision, massive vision. He went big, and I kept going, no, 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 you can't do that, you can't do that. That was my upbringing. No, no, you can't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Oh, that's impossible. And he went big. And I mean, there's a guy called Tom Dudridge. He's kind of a little bit of my hero, but he was amazing. He was amazing and frustrating all in one go. But he built a business that went from a 0 to £1 million turnover in 12 months. And all I can say was hold on to your table, because it was, yeah. And because he went big, he decided that he was going to do iPod accessories, and he was going to deliver iPod accessories for Boots for their Christmas stock. And he went for it. We didn't have the stock. We had to do all of the other stuff. We had to kind of backfill. But he went, and he taught me to think big. And if you don't shoot for the moon, you won't ever get to the stars. So actually shoot for the moon is really important. If you think big, you're going to achieve something. Otherwise, you're restricting yourself all the time. So he's a great one of mine. And the other thing that I liked about him was he always introduced me. He was my boss, but he always introduced me with, we work together. This is Jill, we work together.
Wow, he sounds absolutely inspirational. I've got a funny feeling I may have crossed paths with him when I worked in field marketing.
You may have done, because we did a lot of stuff with Carphone Warehouse, all of those iPod. Gear 4?
So I was a Intel trainer around that time, and I trained all the Carphone Warehouse guys. I don't normally talk about this. I trained them all about how to sell Intel. Now this is, gosh, I think they were notepads. What were they called? It doesn't matter. They were the kind of bridging gap between a laptop. So they were really perfect to be light and portable before we got to the smart tech.
Yeah.
So I was in Carphone Warehouse dealing with the Geek Squad around the same time. That's really weird.
So there is. I think you can still get them. It's called the Icebox, which is a case for phones and iPods. Honestly, we put it in backwards once in the office. We couldn't break the damn thing. So yeah, we had. It was the most amazing fun and absolutely bonkers. But yeah, it was amazing fun, and that was an interesting one. And then there's lots of different people along the way. I had an amazing friend of mine who, whatever the question was, the answer was yes. Did crazy nutty stuff with her, and it was awesome. And again, helping you to think bigger and just go for it, and that really helped. And then obviously going out on my own was, leap of faith. It was scary. It was a leap of faith. There was a whole load of stuff went on. This friend of mine, well, my best friend, unfortunately, she died, and I nursed her at the end of her life because I was between jobs, and it was all I can say was that was the most phenomenal thing ever. It was just so amazing to share that love for somebody, and she taught me, dancing on the tables while you're having chemo is, and she was still living every minute, and she made us all promise that we would live our lives to the full because she couldn't. So I've done some crazy. Well, I was doing crazy you know, pushing the boundaries before, but I did a little bit more. And then I went off and did some traveling on my own. And so when I came back, I was ready to do my
I,
own thing.
I love that, because you do need to be ready, and you do need to take a leap of faith, and you do need to think big, because you do limit yourself. And I've been guilty. I am absolutely guilty of limiting and hiding and avoiding doing things that would allow me to be successful because of fear. And I've recently been, as you know, part of you're one of the women that have done this, kicked me really hard. My backside is actually quite sore at the moment from the amount of people that have kicked me because of self-doubt.
I thought it was gently pulling you in the right direction there, honestly. But the thing is don't think for a minute that any of us still don't have self-doubt. I still have it. We all have it. Anybody has it. And when you know that everybody has it, and there's a few people probably listening to this going, oh, that's not what you were saying last week, Jill. Because we all have those little moments of doubt. You know, do I know what I'm talking about? Will anybody, you know, listen to me? And there's, you know, that little monkey on the shoulder giving you the back chat. And yeah, and actually what I've learned through some of the training I've done is just to recognize when that's happening. You just go, okay, that's happening. How do we deal with this? And there are ways of dealing with that. You know, when you're in a bad mood, it starts, you know, when you're sad, you slump your body and you look down, and when you're happy, you do that. Now actually there's a physiological thing. If you do that, you cannot cry, you cannot frown, you have to laugh. So it's doing those things, it's recognizing what physical things, what things make you happy, and do those when you're sad. So I know that when I'm on when things are going really well for me, and this is something I noticed when I was doing my training, was I start to dance. So I start to dance. So actually, when I'm not feeling great, I put on loud music and I dance around my kitchen, and that raises my mood. And those are the things that I've learned, and that's the things I love to share. Those little tidbits of information that help people just in the moment go, okay, I can change how I think. I can change how I feel. It's the thoughts we have that make us feel in a particular way, which make us react in a particular way, and it's a whole cycle. So if you can change your thoughts, you can change your feeling, you can change your response, you can change how you act. And it's that cycle that we work with, that I work with in my coaching. I use coaching to support businesses. So it's a kind of, that's part of the coaching tool, as it were. And the business side is just all of the jumbled up experience I have rolled up into a package that I can help share with people, because I've done a lot of stuff.
I love it. I find that it's hard sometimes because I'm trying to not stop coaching, because I will always coach. There's no two ways about it. I love empowering people to speak with confidence, but I went down the rabbit hole because of the pandemic of focusing on that, because I could do it online and earn money, and I forgot about the other bits of what I do. And it's when you come in, and it was you on a call with Sharon, and they went, I didn't know you did that. And I went, oh, how can you not know I didn't do that? So thank you for actually pointing out that maybe I'd got caught up in the rabbit hole. I got caught up in my own head.
Yeah, but I think that's what we all do. Actually, funny enough, that's why the goal mapping helps, because you just go back to it and go, oh yeah, that's what I was doing, forgot. Yeah, because we all get distracted by shiny things. You go, oh my God, that's such a good idea. I want that. And I can say I've been so many times I've gone, oh, it's kind of like looking over the fence and going, oh, I really like what she does, or I really like what he does. That's a really interesting industry. Oh my God, maybe I could do that. And then you start to dilute your time, your energy, and you focus on the wrong things. So actually staying focused is all part, and being clear what it is that you want is all part of our journey. It's part of how I support businesses and business people, but it's how I do it for myself as well. And honestly, it is a journey of discovery. We started to talk about it earlier, didn't we? About when you start out on your own, it's kind of, you are not clear what you want and who you are and what you're doing, but it doesn't matter. The first step is to make that step, go out and talk about it. And I found that when I went out networking and I started to talk about it, it started to become clearer in my head what I was doing. And then I started to go, oh, I actually sound quite intelligent. I'll carry on down this road. Or, you know, you see how people respond to you and you go, oh, that's what I want. And over time, you become much clearer about what it is that you are delivering and able to give people. And then it becomes clearer to you as well. It becomes clearer to you and therefore clearer to them. And so I would say, yeah, make that leap of faith. Just jump and see what happens. It is a little bit of the jump in the deep water. You will swim. Your style of swimming will change, but you will swim. And it's interesting. And you meet the most amazing people on the way. And that is what has been, oh my God, so heartwarming. The people that I have met since I've gone out on my own has just been phenomenal. The support, the family that's been created. I have never felt more supported and less lonely than since I've been self-employed and on my own.
I want to touch up on that networking. Beautiful, wonderful, powerful thing before we go to the questions. And the reason I wanted to just what you just said there was really, really key. When you go out and you start networking, it's nerve-wracking. Yes, you've got to walk into a room. Yeah, you've got to succinctly say what you do, particularly the local one that we go to and the one that you run. Can I say it? Am I allowed to say where we go?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, please.
Okay. The Buzz Network. So, and what's really good about it is you get to test out. You get a test in a really safe environment. And that going out networking, meeting people, as well as working with the business spa, that really helped me hone my offering. And I'm everybody, if you're starting up or you are lost in your business, you don't do it alone. You can't do it in your own head. So
yeah, you get stuck in your own head. Go out and talk to people. And you may walk into a room and think everybody knows each other, but no, not everybody does. Some people do, obviously. Not everybody does. The thoughts that are going through your head are going through theirs. Who's going to talk to me? What happens if no one talks? What do I do? What happens if somebody talks so much to me? How can I get out of it? Well, we have lots of little tips and tricks for that. Just go and talk to people. Genuinely, people go to networking because they want to get to know you, because they're interested. Yeah, so go and talk to people. You don't have to talk about yourself. You can just ask them about them. Everybody loves to be listened to.
They do. I'm going to go to the questions. So we've had a really busy morning. Ella, I'm just going to say it straight away. I hope I see you tomorrow, because Ella and our children go to the same school, which is always really lovely. Rabina has joined us and said good morning. And Jill, even though I'm not a business owner, I feel I may learn a lot here, which is brilliant.
You don't have to be a business owner to do any of this stuff. Absolutely not. I mean, the stuff, all of the things we do, it supports you in your career goals as well as your business goals. So if you're not a business owner but you are a little bit stuck, or you want to do something, you decided you want to go and climb a mountain, there's a goal map for that too.
Rubina, you should get in touch because I know where you are. Ella is just brilliant. You're such. She says you're so my kind of person. I love to boogie around the house. So I love boogieing. So maybe there's something we could do there. Maybe we should start boogieing. What do you think?
What now? The music on, baby.
I'm not there. Yeah, my days of dancing are over.
No. They're never over. They're never over. So this is negative talk.
No. I should have reframed that, and we'll do this live. I should have said my professional days of dancing are over.
You never know. People might pay you to dance or pay you to stop. That.
I think. Well, I broke my toe, so I can't go on point any longer. So that's what I meant.
A different type of dancing, hey?
Yes, it very much so, and of course that's a typical mindset of a dance. Someone who trained dancing. We think of dancing as ballet and controlled, and of course then we go and try and boogie on the local dance floor. We're strutting our moves, doing hip rolls, and everyone looks at you and goes, what are you doing? Why are you not just dancing around your handbag? So I think I'll just go and dance around my handbag.
Yeah, dance like no one's watching.
Really good advice. In fact, I'm going to say something really bad here. When I was acting, one of the worst things that we're ever asked to do as an actor is do a party scene. And the reason we're asked to do a party scene, when you do a party scene, is we all become self-conscious of our dancing. You've never seen anything like it. A group of actors or dancers trying to dance without showing that they can dance. Yeah, it's hysterical.
Oh, it's pretending you can't. Yeah, pretending you can't. You're no good at something is quite hard, isn't it?
Really, really hard. It just makes me giggle. It's one of those memories. Claire's just said, definitely have my playlist on Spotify to keep upbeat. This has been an absolute joy. Gill, so we've talked about your aha moments. Can I ask about a little bit about your name and where it comes from? Because I know that this is a really interesting story. So because I know you. So
yeah. So we had a name off, didn't we? There's a little bit of an adventurous streak in me. You may have already worked it out. So when I was 18, I went to live with a family in Germany as an au pair. I'd never got on a plane before. I don't think I'd even been to an airport before. So just before the Pope arrived, I arrived. And so I started to work with a family, look after their children in Bonn in Germany, and it was a phenomenal and an awesome family, and I'm still in touch with them. So and an amazing experience, and those experiences are really the things that open your mind. And Germans, they have this once a year. They do this thing called Carnival, and there's a whole load of au pairs, a group of English au pairs got together, and we went and did Carnival. And I can't remember much, but I met a chap and I ended up getting married and staying in Germany. So that's where my name comes from. But the name is quite interesting because my now ex-husband's family is East Prussian. And if you know your geography, East Prussia is actually Prince Albert was East Prussian. Is now it's east of Poland, and it's now a country called Kaliningrad. It's part of Russia. Kaliningrad is where his family came from, and it was basically ethnic cleansed after the Second World War. And my in-laws, they tell a story which is quite frightening, where his mother, uncle and grandmother, they were threatened. They were told if they tried to escape by the Germans that they would be stopped, and they were terrified of the Russians because they had this awful reputation. And so they walked into town, into Kaliningrad, which was called Königsberg at the time. They walked in with layers of clothes on, and the story that Uma told us, or when I asked her, was that they were walking up the gangplank. They were the last ones walking up the gangplank on a ship to escape to Sweden, as the Russians were firing shots to them. So quite traumatic, and it's very interesting when you hear the story from a different perspective. And then they were refugees for a very long time. So if you know anything about German history, the Bavarians and the East Prussians and the Prussians are mortal enemies in the German world of Germany. That is, and their family unfortunately ended up being refugees in Bavaria, speaking with this very East Prussian accent. So they had a really rough time during the war. They were hungry, they were starving. They told stories, as a tractor went by and a potato fell off the tractor, they had potato soup for a week.
Yeah.
So it's just the other side of the story that you don't hear. And then they were obviously displaced. They couldn't go back to their homes. And my mother-in-law probably stopped going to school at the age of 9 and never went back. So because by the time that they found somewhere they were left the refugee camp and were repatriated and found somewhere to live, she was 15, 16. So yeah. And her and Orpa, grandpa he was having a whale of a time. He's a prisoner of war in France, and I think there's a little bit of a joke within the family that there are some half Germans running around there because he had quite a nice time. But it took 10 years before he was home. I think, before he was repatriated. So you see, it takes a long time to rebuild lives. And they actually lived in a flat up until the 1980s, where they had a shared bathroom with the flat below them. So be grateful for what you have.
Very much. We won't get political, but it does make you think about what's going on in the world today. And I remember when I first met Dennis, and his granny talked about watching Rotterdam alight as if it was fireworks in the sky, but it wasn't. It was the bombs. And I think sometimes we forget. Not that we forget.
No, I think what it is we hear about the big picture. You hear a big picture, but actually it affects individuals, and this is how it affects them. And and there's knock-on effects. I was listening to something really interesting about generational trauma, but that was also, there's knock-on effects. So my mother-in-law is obsessed with food because she was always hungry. She was hungry as a child. So it's a bit of she puts food on your plate and you go, stop, and there's 3 more spoonfuls land on your plate, and you just go, no, I can't eat it all. And it's that kind of stuff. But it's all comes from a place of a good intent, and that's really interesting.
Thank you for sharing. I know it's a really powerful story, and I just thought it was really pertinent. I think that's what I want to share today. This is where you get to turn the tables on me. I have no idea what's coming. You get to ask me a question.
No, you see, I listened to a couple of these and I didn't know what to ask you, and I still don't know what to ask you. But I suppose I'm going to ask you, and this, you always talk about your dyslexia and dyspraxia. Why?
Because I want other people to know that it's okay to be dyslexic and dyspraxic. I found out at 37 and it crushed me. I've known since I knew all the way through, right the way through till I was diagnosed, that I was dyslexic, dyspraxic, but there wasn't any help for me, and it was lonely, and I had to learn life skills. And what I find is that it's a bit like, I won't go into the internet, it's a bit like that hidden elephant in the room. And I didn't talk about it because I was embarrassed. I was humiliated. I couldn't read very well. And as an actor going into read-throughs, I would struggle and I would scan. I taught myself how to speed read ahead. And I don't want anybody to not know that they're not, that they're on their own, because you can succeed if you are dyslexic and dyspraxic. It is not a disability, it is a superpower. What I am happy to do, and it's what happened when we were at the goal mapping, is I'm now confident enough to say, hang on a minute, I'm struggling here, and it's just I'm neurodiverse. I've just got a different way that my brain works. You're running on ahead. If I don't speak up at that point, I'm lost, and the rest of the session has gone, and I'm still on that point because I haven't been able to catch up. So I want people to be able to know that it's okay to say, I am dyslexic, I am dyspraxic. It's not, I'm stupid. I am not stupid in any way. I just have a brain that is wired differently. And this goes for ADHD and all the other aspects of neurodiversity, because I'm watching and working with a little boy. So I work with children who've got who are coming into to understanding where they are with their neurodiversity, and I don't take any payment for this. This is on the side. And one of the things I do is I share my journey with them.
Yeah,
and it empowers them to know that it's okay. And this little boy, I'm so proud of him. He's going to do a presentation at school about himself, because it is about ourselves, and it's not that we're different. And I'm very strong on this. We need to be included and accepted, and we have to do that starting with ourselves.
Well, thank you for sharing that, because I think that's really powerful. Getting that diagnosis, did it help you go, oh, now I know, now I'm okay?
So when I found out I'd written an essay, and the essay came back with red, and I was called stupid by the tutor. I was 37, lazy, all the things that you're told when you're at school, and it had nothing but red pen over it. And I turned and had this biggest breakdown. It took 2.5 hours to stop me to allow me to be able to breathe and be sensible enough to be able to get into the car. I was 37, to get into the car and drive home. The teacher who caught me, I still don't know you, can't remember your name, but oh my God, you caught me. And it totally broke me. It was the start of me totally burning my entire life. And I do mean, I got the diagnosis, I graduated from university, I hated my 2-2 because it wasn't good enough, because all of those things, that mental crazy. And then in the December, I completely blew my life up because of this diagnosis. And then I came out the other side and I met Dennis and I grew up and I owned it. So it was about 6 months of total breaking, and I owned it. And it's now so important and entrenched in me that I want other people to know it's okay to have that break.
And actually, I think that's what's really important, is recognizing that people, not everybody, you think everybody thinks the same way you do and processes the same things that you do. And intellectually, I knew they didn't, but it took me a long time to get to grips with the fact that people process things at different times. They take in information in different ways. Some people like to listen, some people like to read. Everybody learns differently. And when you recognize that, then you certainly, as a speaker and a trainer, you have to make sure that you speak and talk and communicate with people in lots of different ways, so you include everybody. But actually, by you shouting out, hang on a minute, there may have been other people that hadn't quite heard properly, hadn't quite misinterpreted it and all that kind of thing. So actually, it's okay to say, hang on a minute, could you just say that again?
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, Brian Main, who did the goal mapping system, he left school age 13, unable to read and write, utterly dyslexic.
Yeah.
He still made a fortune in the business that he was in and lost it all. But he is the epitome of changing how he learned how to read. And he's now an avid reader. And he'll still say it takes some time, but he reads words in such a different way. He takes the information on in such a different way. He really almost every single word is inwardly digested and analysed, and he kind of looked up, what does that word mean? What does that word mean? How many of us do that?
I do.
How many of us, but how many of us make assumptions about what a word means and then use it completely in the wrong way?
So I have to know what it means. And if I use the wrong word, you heard it earlier, is that the word I want? I will question, and that's my brain. It's not me questioning myself. It's me questioning the context of how I've used the word to ensure that I've used it correctly. So that's one of my life skills that I use. I am really proud that I can help people. And I think that's, and particularly the new generation, the new people coming through. Neurodiversity is so much easier to diagnose today, and I want to empower others. So thank you for asking that question.
Yeah, well, thank you. There is obviously that was really interesting. It's really good to hear, but I also have a little bit of experience with that because I have ASD, ADHD with my kids, and sort of had some interesting challenges along the way. And I now help parents with challenging children with challenging behaviour, because I know what it's like. And it's just recognising we think differently. Some people don't remember anything. Have people that have an attention span of a gnat is not because they are being naughty or not. They just can't. So it's just give the information in a different way.
Awesome. We're gonna wrap up there. We've gone over, which is great, because that was such a lovely end. And I may just snip that and send that out as a soundbite, because I think what we've just discussed, well, actually, all of this has been incredible, actually. So thank you so much for your time this morning. I have thoroughly enjoyed it.
I guess we have to do a bit more, because there's loads more, because you've got a really good story. I've got a really good story. We could throw some in there.
We're going to have to do something else. Absolutely.
And I can guarantee with a glass of wine, it would be even more funny.
I love that. Let's say goodbye. Thank you.
Okay, take care.